Khan. Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Akiyam. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash. I would also like to give a double honors to the beloved elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000 men of Israel, which consists of the servants, the prophets, whom have been ordained since the foundations of this earth to sing this new song, which comes in the form of this gospel, which would be preached throughout all four corners of this earth and rest upon the heirs of the innumerable multitude, men, women, and children of Israel, who may be scattered throughout all four corners of this earth. Shalom. Hey, shalom, beloved Akiyam and Akwaf. It's just Bayan back again through the spirit, power, mercy, and grace of our power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And I just want to get into a brief live stream. It's going to be straight to the point. Just got some information I want to share with you, Akiyam and Akwaf, hence the thumbnail. And this lesson was inspired through the Holy Spirit first and foremost, but it was triggered by the live stream that the elder Apostle Gabar did earlier today in reference to the atrocities of Esau. All right, and what he's done to us so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. The course of events that took place upon him making contact with us. These are things that we never want to forget. All right, because ultimately, all right, this is history. All right, that is going to be forever a stain. All right, on these people, bro. All right, the things that they've done to the tribes, bro, they're atrocities. They're atrocities, man. And ultimately, there's no sorry, or there's no paying reparations. There's no, giving us casinos or, free education. There's no amount of resource or money that you can give us so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that's going to be able to repay the blood, all right? The blood that you shed of our people, bro. All right? And we know, pursuant to the law, the requirement for shedding one's blood, you see, and defiling the land, is that those that shed that blood, their blood must be shed. All right? And ultimately, we're coming into the time where evil E, all right, he's going to be visited divinely, all right, by whom you people ignorantly call God, all right, and Jesus Christ, the true name being Yahweh. Okay, Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai, man. All right, Yahweh being the true name of the Heavenly Father. Yah means he, Howah means he is, bro. All right, he's omnipotent. All right, his incorruptible spirit is in all things, man. Bah Hashem means in the name. And Yahweh Shai is the true name of the only begotten Son. You people ignorantly call Jesus Christ. All right, Yahweh Shai is the true name of the only begotten. Yah means he, Howah Shai means deliverer, man, or savior. And he's coming to deliver the elect of his people, the children of Israel, the elect of the children of Israel, bro. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and there will be speckled birds, Israelites that look like the other nations, all right, but their bloodline goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and you best to believe they believe the report. They've repented, and they reverence Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man, in spirit and in truth, okay? This is the power that's coming back to vindicate this guy, all right, and ultimately repay him for what he has done. Okay, now I want to get into some information. I got a video through the spirit, pretty much just some information off of Wikipedia, tapping into the diabolical works, all right, that took place upon, our Southern Kingdom brothers, by the hands of Evil E during the time of chattel slavery. All right, how he was, literally consuming, specifically, the men. All right, believe it or not, it was specifically the men. All right, because Evil E has a homoerotic fetish, all right, for us Israelite men. You see, because he knows that, you know, he knows who we be. You know, so he's a sickle. You know, and we're gonna go into it through the Spirit. You know, and ultimately, what we're gonna do, let's do this. Let's do this real quick. And I even seen some information. I can't remember where I saw it. It was a video, and I can't remember. I wish I could remember where I saw it. But the Edomite woman was talking about how it's clear to see, you know, that white men have some type of, you know, fetish for black guys, you know, or Israelite men in general, you know, always making jokes regarding our phalluses or what have you, you know. You know, Esau he's a weird one, you know. But there was this video. I wish I could find it. This Edomite woman was speaking on it, because you already know the Edomite woman being in the interiors, you know, of the stomping grounds of Evil E. You know, so they know some intimate things. But needless to say, let's get this real quick. This is the book of Obadiah. All right. Chapter 1 and verse 6, and it reads, it's only one chapter, but chapter 1 and verse 6, and it reads, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All right. It's through the Spirit, bro. It's through prophecy. It's through these scriptures. All right. It's through the truth. That's how Esau has been pinpointed and targeted. All right. This is why this man operates under the deception he operates under. All right. And just to bring clarification to the title, all right, for any new listener, anybody newly tuning in, all right, it's so-called. He's a so-called white man. Okay. Because there's no such thing as a white man. There's no such thing as a black man. That's all made up through Esau's social construct. All right. And that's for him to make himself seem like he's benevolent, supreme, and superior. All right. But in reality, all right, he's the red man. All right. He doesn't have melanin. His blood comes forth. Okay. He has translucent skin. This is why Isaac named him Isashua. All right, which means wasted away is he. That's how you say his name in the Hebrew, Isashua. All right, wasted away is he, because he has no melanin. You see, and again, granted, just to qualify it, there's going to be Israelites that actually look like Edomites in these latter days. But again, obviously, the Spirit will bear witness with the Spirit, you know. But check this out. So Esau, that's how Esau sought out. All right, that's how he searched out. All right, and that's how his hidden things are sought up. This light, all right, shining, man. This word. You see? Look it. I'm jumping down to verse 10, and it reads, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, which is our so-called Israel, which is our so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? The true Israelites. Remember, Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Remember that in Genesis, the 32nd chapter, after he wrestled the angel. All right, look it. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. All right, and we're living out the process of Esau's shame right now, where he's supposed to be actually relishing in glory. All right, but in real time, he's he's wallowing in shame. You know, as all these you know, pressure points in history continuously come out on this guy. You would have thought, excuse me, forgive me, you would think he would have done away with this information as far as the delectable Negro is concerned. You know, but no, not with that pride. He got it plastered up all up on Wikipedia, and, you know, there's videos all online where you can just easily search it out. But that's the pride of this guy. But how hypocritical they are. I'll mess around and get a strike for bringing this information out off this on this platform. But here it is. It's readily available. You know, But that's the hypocrite that this dude is. But anyways, right? So because of his violence against Jacob, Shem's covering him, man. And ultimately, he's going to be cut off forever. All right, and that's going to come after that 1,000-year captivity. All right, he's going to have to live out during the time of Jacob. You see, he has a long 1,000-year drawn out captivity. Him and the rest of the heathen are going to have to fulfill. You know, but pursuant to this chapter and many others, all right, he's going to be done away with. The Edomites are going to be done away with. The Lord's going to cut off son, and he's going to cut off nephew. This precept alone tells us that he's going to be cut off forever. You see, not to mention verse 18, where it gets explicit on how the Lord's going to actually do it. All right, and this is just one of many reasons why. What we're about to tap into right now. All right, this is one of many reasons why. Now, real quick, and again, this lesson is not meant to be long. I want to go straight to the point. And I want to do it as, quick as possible, but edify, Lord willing. Now, let me see here real quick. Let's go to Wikipedia real quick. And again, I have a video too. I'm going to share, Lord willing, with you, Akiyam and Aqua. Now, real quick, right? So this is Wikipedia. All right. And I searched up the delectable Negro. Now, real quick. Let's just tap into this real quick. This is what it says, right? The delectable Negro, right, is a human consumption and homoeroticism, right, which is pretty much when you get off on eating people, bro. Same sex, though, right? You can look it up. Let's look this word up real quick. All right? Yeah, we're tapping into the mind of a madman right now, right? Check this out. Homoeroticism refers to the representation, expression, or experience of sexual attraction or desire between members of the same sex in art, literature, or implicity in life, right? In this case, cannibalism, all right? And we're going to leave that right there for the sake of me trying to get falsely accused for some type of medical misinformation. You know how they get down. So we'll leave that right there. You get it. You can look it up as well. Let's go back. Right? I'm going to continue on. Bear with me, Akiyama Nakwa. All right, continuing on. All right, in Wikipedia, under the delectable Negro, right? It reads, so the delectable Negro is a human consumption and homoeroticism within U.S. slave culture. Okay? It's a 2014 book by Vincent Wittard. The book explores the homoeroticism of both literal and figurative acts of human cannibalism, right, that occurred during slavery in the United States of America. This is some of the history, bro, of these early settlers, man, these Edomites. All right? This is the stuff they were doing. They were doing it in Europe too. This is what they were doing, bro, to Jake. Check this out. Woodard examines the sexual nature of documented instances of flesh eating and details that varies manners of consumption whereby Black Americans were metaphorically or actually eaten, bro. All right? By who? Evil E. Whose hands were we in? Right? We were under their possession, right? Check this out. This is crazy. All right, in the book, Woodard defines consumption as a range of parasitic practices, including institutionalized hunger, seasoning rituals, right? And you can look into that as well, right? The beloved the brother Gabar Yahawada from Hawaii, I grabbed that for him through the spirit, me and another brother. right? Regarding slavery and how they would do seasoning rituals. Okay, you can look that up. Look at and sexual modes of consumption, bro. All right, we know they would take Jake's phallus, put him in mason jars, and keep him as memorabilia. You know, the list goes on. You know, not to get too graphic, but hey, we're gonna bring it out. All right. Let's see here. All right, the delectable Negro draws on works, progress administration interviews, advertisements for runaway slaves, and slave narratives. The book includes textual analysis of works of Harriet Jacobs and Frederick Douglass, as well as an examination on the treatment of Nat Turner, okay, whose flesh was turned into medicinal grease, bro. All right? And you got to look into that story with Nat Turner, man. They turned his flesh into a medicinal grease. Okay? This is what this damn demon was doing. And I mean, I'm not going to, let me see, I'll get a little bit more here. Oh, man, yeah, we definitely got to get this. Because, again, we're tapping into the mind of a madman. Check it out. So here's an overview, right? So the Delectable Negro explores the homoeroticism of literal and metaphorical acts of human cannibalism coincident with slavery in the United States. Woodard writes that the consumption of black men by white male enslavers was a natural byproduct of their physical, emotional, and spiritual hunger for the black man. Okay? And what has to be understood is that these individuals, they're in society with us, man. All right? These individuals are around, man. You know? And obviously, they're, you know, in leadership positions, you know, as tentacles of the global elite, you know, trickling all the way up to those monsters, man. All right? Because one would like to paint the picture, oh, that was my ancestors. That wasn't us. That was them. Nope. All right? The reality is this. There's a such thing as reincarnation. All right? And you come back after every 3 to 4 generations. You see? This is why the hate never gone nowhere. All right? When it comes to Esau feeling some type of way, all right, towards Jacob. You see? Him having full intentions on slaying Jacob. That's never changed because ultimately the same spirits keep coming back in different bodies, bro. Okay? And that spiritual hate never changes. You see that? Now, we can prove that. Now, what I want to do is a video I want to share as well. My goodness, let me just get a quick precept real quick. We haven't even heard the half of it. We're going to find out everything Evil Eve was doing in the kingdom. Bear with me. And this is why his judgment is going to be so harsh. Esau, hey, scripture says he forwarded our affliction. Here's the book of Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 12, and it reads, "For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret," bro. So, okay, we know this much wide open as far as what Esau was doing, all right? As far as cannibalizing his slaves, bro. We know he was feeding the children of crocodiles for alligators for gator bait, you know? We know this is so many things he's done. You know, he trained dogs to pretty much have a taste for Israelite flesh, bro. You know? And it's just, the list goes on as far as what he was doing. You see what I'm saying? So imagine how much more in secret, the secret things he was doing, things we don't know yet. Because we will find out. We're gonna find out. You see? We're gonna find out, bro. But how much more will we do know? You know? Come on, man. You see? Let me get this real quick too. The book of Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 10, and it reads, never trust thine enemy. For as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness, bro. And if you're wondering, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans out there that are newly coming into the faith, who your enemy is, if you're wondering, well, just keep listening. And you're going to see exactly who it is, who your arch enemy is, man. All right? And from a biblical standpoint, go read Psalms, the 83rd chapter. And what you're going to find out, Esau is mentioned there twice. He's mentioned there first. All right? And then he's mentioned there again as Amalek, which the Amalekites, that's the chief house of Esau. You see? Further giving more credence to him being the arch enemy of Israel, bro. This is why the track record is so long as far as what he's done to us. You see? Look. Yeah. Matter of fact, let me get this too. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, bro. Right? And thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. He's the same demon that he was back in the time of chattel slavery. He's just worse now. All right? He's just worse. He's increasing his so-called science. All right? He's increasing his ability to push biochemical warfare. We're dealing with a complete demonic demon is who we're dealing with. And you got to know that. All right? Trust me, if he had the opportunity, he'll eat you today. All right? And drink your blood. Yup. Yes, he will. Okay? Now listen to this. Let's go ahead. Let's go to this video real quick. Court is in session. All right, as we often say. Let's see here. Here we go. Now, this is fair use, fair use. All right, I'm not making any monetary gain off of this video. All right, this is for educational purposes only and for the sake of prophecy. All right, fair use, fair use. I'm going to run this right here. This is from the African Diaspora News Channel. With old boy Philip. Right? And you know, old boy, his knowledge only stretches so far. When it comes to the reality of who he is and where he's from. You know what I mean? We're going to just take it with a grain of salt. We already know, but we'll make it, we'll make it work. because he does have some good information regarding this Edomite woman, all right, that has come to the realization, all right, that she stems from monsters, man. Look it.
As you see, many Republican, governors and those pundits and whatever do not want their true history taught in America, because American history is very evil and demonic, and they feel that, well, we need to stop this history because we really don't want too many people to know who we really are, and that's not happening. Case in point, you have this white young lady that just come to the realization about the history of her community and how sick they were. Let's roll that.
Evangelical culty religion. As I educate myself, though, I really get stuck on this one point. White Christians would go to church on a Sunday wearing a cross around their neck to worship a martyr God who was crucified by being nailed to a cross, to be publicly tortured to death for political reasons. And then those same Christians would leave church with a picnic to go to a public, and then they would gather by the hundreds or thousands to do to a black person the same or worse than was done to their martyr God. And then they would pass out the body parts as souvenirs, and they would take photographs to go on postcards. And they would bring their kids and call themselves, without irony, Christians. What the actual?
You see, they don't want this history out there. Whether it's Ron DeSantis or whoever else, they don't want America to know the true history of who they are, because this is the thing. If you know the history of who they really are, then what could they really tell you even in 2023 when they have a system that's the same system that those people that she's talking about? When they have a system still in place in 2023 built by the same people that she's talking about that was fighting for the body parts of black people. Also, they were eating black people as well. If you read the book, The Delectable Negro, they had a thing even called Negro soup. Oh, yes. They was eating people from the continent of Africa, Europe, and also here in the Americas, black people. They don't want that history to be out there as well. See, these people's history is not good. And they for sure don't want white people to learn the history, because they need the majority of white people to believe in the lie of white supremacy.
White Christians would go to church on a Sunday wearing a cross around their neck to worship a martyr God who was crucified by being nailed to a cross, to be publicly tortured to death for political reasons. And then those same Christians would leave church with a picnic to go to a public, and then they would gather by the hundreds or thousands to do to a black person the same or worse than was done to their martyr God.
If white people find out the true history of their ancestors, they will become sickened, because once you learn it, you can't just justify it. How can you justify that, what she's describing? It's nothing there to justify. That you go to a church supposed to be worshiping white Jesus, which is, like I said, that is their idol, white Jesus, and then go and torture and trying to save the body parts of a black person. They will sell tickets to go to this, like you go into a concert. Yes, this is what they would do, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I tell people, know the history and scream it to the rooftops. Because there's nothing they can tell you today to nothing they can tell you to justify any of that. Some of them, they so deep in their devilment that they'll rationalize that, and they'll say, oh, well, other people did it too. That's what they like to say. Oh, other people in other countries, I don't care what people did. If they did, they didn't, whatever. We're talking about what your ancestors done and how you're still guilty and how the blood of black people is still on your hands because you're maintaining a system that was built off of the terror of black people. So you're just as guilty. If you want to make it right, the first thing you need to do is pay up reparations by cash payments. That's one of the first things you got to do for all the stolen labor and wealth that came from black people. Because I'm a firm believer of, you should be tortured every night in your sleep. You shouldn't get no sleep until you do what's right by black people.
I'm going to say this. Reparations will not suffice, okay? Pursuant to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. You see? But what will, which is what Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is preparing them for, is slaughter. Okay? Let's go get this real quick. Again, as we mentioned before, there's no amount of money. All right? There's no reparation. There's no sorry. All right? None of that can be adequate payment for the blood. The Lord requires a blood redemption for what they've done, as we can read in Numbers 35 and 33. But let's go get this. All right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, and verse 21, and it reads, prepare slaughter for his children. Whose children? When you read up in this chapter, it taps into Lucifer, which are the Luciferians. It's talking to the light bearers, the bearers of the light. All right, which is talking to who? The global elite. All right, which consists of who? Edomites. All right, preferably the Amalekites. All right, shit rolls downhill. Okay, so this is who this is talking to. You see that? Listen. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity. You see that? For the iniquity of their fathers, bro. Now let's make it clear. Those slave ships, all right, were sponsored by Amalek. All right, them small hats, bro. Look it, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, bro, showing you that they were their fathers. Because when you go to the book of Ezekiel, it tells us that the father will not pay for the wickedness of the son, and the son won't pay for the vice versa. You see that? So this slaughter that's being prepared for the children is for the iniquity of their fathers, which they were. You see that? Because again, every 3 to 4 generations, you come back. They're back on the scene. Look at that. They do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities, bro. Because if they do, they will bring evil and only evil. You see, we're coming into a time where Esau's about to be exacerbated, bro. All right, his services are no longer required. All right, because at the end of the day, what? Let's go ahead. We're at the end of our captivity, Akiyam and Akwab. This thing is, hey, we out. We rolling. Right? Game over. Right? Look at Lamentations 4 and 21, and it reads, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, which is the Edomites, right? So-called white man, that dwelleth in the land of Uz, which that's a buzzword for the U.S. The cup also shall pass through unto thee, thou shalt be drunken, and shall make thyself naked. All right, what cup is that? Right, the cup of, we're going to come back here, the cup of captivity, right? The cup of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai's indignation, man. All right, the cup that is red. All right, the cup of the Lord's fury. Let's go here. All right, bear with me. This is the book. Bear with me, Akiyam and Akwa. I'm just seeing wherever I want to start up. Yeah, you know what I'll do? I'm going to start at verse 17. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 51 and verse 17. And it reads, Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk at the hand of the Lord Yahweh the cup of his fury. Thou hast drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling and wrung them out. Okay, and this is why Evil E was able to deal with us so treacherously, man. All right, because Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai gave us up into the hand of the slayer. Why? Because our iniquities had increased. We broke that first covenant, man. And we wouldn't stop. All right, we wouldn't stop worshiping idols. We were tripping. All right, and exactly what the Lord said he was going to do, he did. All right, but guess what? There's a backstory to this. Now, check it out. I'm jumping down to verse 22. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people. See, the Lord's going to plead our cause. All right, it's not gonna take the the decision of the so-called white man to say, you know what? Yeah, let's give each family, $100 million, to show our deepest regrets in regards to what our forefathers did. Not gonna happen, and if it did, it won't matter. All right, because at the end of the day, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is gonna plead our cause. How? Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. Lining up with that lamentation, which we're gonna go back to. Verse 23, right? Isaiah 51 and 23. Where's that cup going? But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down, that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground and as the street to them that went over. Okay, hey, you heathen starting with Esau, you better be afraid. You better be very afraid, bro. All right, because Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, who you ignorantly call God and Jesus Christ, has nothing but evil prepared for you, man. Evil is prepared for you. Trust and believe it. It's coming your way, and it's gonna rest upon you hot and heavy. All right, it's coming your way, and you can feel it in your bone. You can feel it in your spirit. How do we know that? There's evidence all over TikTok, so you can't say we're lying. All right, Lamentations 4 in verse 22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. See, what escapes the mind of you proud, feeble, weak, slow, and pathetic Edomites is that the only reason why you were able to do what you did to us as a nation, from the northern kingdom to the southern, was because Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai gave us up into your hand. Let me get this, let's prove it real quick, and we're gonna jump back over here, right? Because these damn Edomites are so quick to make it to make themselves feel special, and they want to tap into some IQ and try to explain how they're better, and white is right, black is whack. Check this out. The book of Baruch, chapter 4. Right? In verse 5, and it reads, Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. Okay? And that memorial, that goes back to Zion. Right? Which in the Hebrew is Tazayuan. Right? Which goes into memorial, monument, right? A parched place. Check this out. See? The Israel is remembered, bro. The Lord didn't forget about us. Especially starting with the elect. Lord willing, we're part of that precious number. You see? He didn't forget. And he has a special judgment for you Edomites. Let me just let me make that clear. Look at verse 6. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction. See that? Listen. Right? You eavesdropping Edomites that might be in the background, right? Trying to find a way to find a chink in the armor. Look at, but because ye moved power to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies, man. So ultimately, our own transgression led us into your hands, and you were used as a whooping stick. All right, you were just used as a tool of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai for him to settle the score with us. All right, for lack of better words. What do you think is going to happen to you? Ezekiel 25, the same thing's going to happen to you. You're going to fall into the hands of Yasha Allah. Let's go back. Let's get that limitation. We'll leave it right here. Limitations 4 and 22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. See? He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. You Edomites, right? The so-called white man, woman, and child. And you heard old girl. Salakia, forgive me for that. And you heard old girl. Children were on the scene. Okay? When they were going to these so-called picnics and lynchings straight after church. Okay? And then taking part in dismemberment and, okay, cannibalism. Come on now. Children were on the scene, bro. All right? So listen. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. The tables are going to turn. The tables are turning. Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it. That followeth, bro. Okay, so let me close out with this for you, beloved Aki Amenakwa. Let's go back to that Baruch 4. We just gotta wait patiently, Aki Amenakwa. The Lord's gunning for these people, bro. You see, this is why the whole society's falling apart. Look it. Let's close out with this through the Spirit. To bring some comfort to you, beloved, hopeful elect. Right? This is the book. But back in the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 21. Be of good cheer, O my children. Cry unto the Lord, and he will deliver you from the power and hand of the enemies, bro. This is exactly what the Lord's about to do. Divinely, bro. This is about to be a divine escape. All right? And it's going to come through the mercy, power, and grace of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai on behalf of the elect. Right? Lord willing, we're part of that precious number. Jumping, but we got to be patient. Right? Jumping down to verse 25. My children suffer patiently. Which is that word patient, that goes into to suffer. Right? My children suffer patiently the wrath that is come upon you from Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. For thine enemy hath persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction. That lines up with Psalms 90. Right? Was that Psalms 91? Right? And shall tread upon his neck, bro. Okay? So yeah, man. James Brown, that big payback. That's what's over the horizon. And that's the reality of this story that we're all living out. All right? Evil E. All right, everything this dude did. And again, this is just one talking point. This is just one atrocity out of so many. This is just one we're pinpointing and targeting and honing in on specific pressure points regarding it. All right? Revelations 18 tells us that this man's sins have reached up into heaven, bro. The angels are talking about this damn demon, bro. The angels are talking about Esau, these Edomites, and how they got to be stopped, bro. Okay? And they're going to be, as it's written. There's no way around it, right? And we're witnessing the great collapse, all right, of evil Eve right before our eyes, man. All right? So, yeah, man, hey, listen, we can never forget. All right? We can never forget, bro, as far as what they've done to us as a people. We can never make it seem as if it's in the past. And you know how our deluded, delusional, okay, confused aunts, uncles, mothers, fathers, cousins are, bro. They come with that talking, boy, you gotta forget, because they're under a spell, all right, with plantation Christianity. They paint a picture like, oh yeah, just in the past, man, it's in the past. Now we can't forget that, man. Are you crazy? All right? That's how history repeats itself, man. You know? But again, Yahweh Bashim Shai won't let us forget. This is why it's coming out hot and heavy. All right? With precepts to pretty much make it make more sense. But again, the beautiful thing about it is that there's a great judgment that's pending for Esau for what he's done. He's not going to get away with none of it. None of the things he's done, he's going to get away with. All right? And they know these things, man. And you think, well, man, if I got to close out with this. I know I was supposed to close out. I'm going to close out with this. We'll leave it right here. This is the book of Job, chapter 21 and verse 28, and it reads, for ye say verse 29, have ye not asked them that go by the way, and do ye not know their tokens? Which is talking to the prophets, right? The prophets go by the way, right? Highways and byways. The prophets being on the scene is a token, a sign, okay? A pending danger for that current empire, right? Look at, check this out. Pursuing the what? Jeremiah 28 and 8. Check this out real quick. That the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction, right? The day of doom. That they should be brought forth to the day of wrath. The wicked is Esau, Malachi 1 and 4. He's being reserved for the day of doom. You see? Look at who, and this is the point. Who shall declare his way to his face? The servants, the prophets. This is what we're doing right now. We're declaring his way to his face. All right? We're telling him that he's a fraud. All right? We're telling him that he's going to get paid back for what he's done. You see, we're telling him that we're the sons of God, man. Yasha Allah. You see, he Prince of Power, man. This is what we're telling this dude, man. Right? Look at, and who shall repay him what he hath done? Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, Isaiah 47. He's not going to meet you as a man, man. Okay? And this is where we're going with this thing. And we're just going to continue to cry out unto the Lord. All right? The tears are going to continue to come down the widow's cheek. And it's only a matter of time, man. All right? Before the thief, all right, that the scriptures liken them unto, pursuing the 1 Thessalonians 5, creeps up on you niggas, man. Okay? He's going to creep up on you, man. And it's going to be all bets are going to be off at that point, man. Hey, so Lord willing, you beloved Akim and Akwak edified. Hey, Lord willing, through the spirit, power, mercy, and grace of our power, you were informed. All right, for you new listeners that may not have been aware of the delectable Negro. All right, this is the reality, okay, of the monster that rules society, man. This is the reality of their mindset, of their history, of their character, man. All right, they're bloodthirsty. All right, they're profane, right, outside the temple, right, and they're gonna be stopped, and there's simply no way around it, man. All right, keep fighting, Akiyam and Akwa. Stay patient. You know, stay in the spirit, Lord willing. Fast as well as pray. Yahweh Shai is on his way. It's a guarantee. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kwadash. Double honors to the beloved elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. Till next time, beloved Akiyam and Akwath. Shalom.